Welcome to the Leading Lane podcast for real estate pros by real estate pros with your hosts, Ashley Frederick and Stephen Birch. If you're looking for an honest, authentic, and raw perspective, you found it.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in today. We have Tracy Phillips back here with us, and I'm throwing them under the bus. These are one of my favorite things to be able to do in conversations on podcast here because they don't know the topic. But Tracy, ever since I've met you, you are somebody that I want to say that you have a solution for pretty much any problem, right? You know all the right people. And every time now that I have something, I'm like, ooh, there should be a person out there for that. There should be somebody out there to help me. And one of them was with a course. And Tracy's like, ooh, I have somebody. And then I reached out and I was like, hey, Tracy, I'm looking for a coach like to take me to the next level. She's like, ooh, I have somebody. So, and I do think I've hired every single person that we have talked about. So I want to know, you know, in business and in this world that we are in, it's all about relationships. And we hear that over and over and over again. But when I think Tracy, yes, I think video, number one. But number two, I think you are the connector.
I was just going to say, it's my gift. I don't know that I could teach other people how, but I think I have the gift of connecting, and not it's just like a gift of gab, but when I enter a room, I genuinely try to get to know everybody in there, because in my head I'm thinking, well, I might not need them, but maybe somewhere down the line I'll know someone. So I call it my golden Rolodex. And honestly, Stephen and Ashley have taken advantage of my golden Rolodex because it's right. But I don't refer anybody that I don't personally know the results that they're getting. But I truly feel like I connect with people on a human level in a way that I don't really know. I don't know what it is. It is just part of my personality.
And I think that's beautiful because I definitely am somebody, I'm quite reserved, believe it or not, when I'm in a room full of people that I don't know.
Yeah.
And until I actually get to know you, then I don't really shut up and I just tell you exactly what I think. But I think that, you know, when I walk into rooms and with people that I don't know, I do think, what would Tracy do, right? How would Tracy go and approach this? Yes, it's out of my element.
Yeah.
But I'm in a business now that is even more so about relationships and people that don't know me in a whole different, space than I've ever been in before. And so that is always something that is in the back of my mind on how do I show up and shine in the room, and not just on video. Yeah. And Tracy, you're the one, actually, right? She was the one that connected us to Maya.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all sitting at dinner in Chicago, and we were both kind of complaining about just health issues. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to meet. So here's the thing. I did a video testimonials, a Testamagical for Maya. So I had met Maya a couple of times, and we were mutual friends of other people. But how I got to know and why I knew that Maya was the right person was because I interviewed 10 people who said she changed my life. And so I very confidently was like, well, they are experiencing exactly what Maya works with. Maya's the right person. Yeah. And when we talk about being out of your comfort zone, I actually call myself an omnivert because I have extrovertedness, right, when I'm in the room, and then I have to go back to my hotel room or something and be by myself, right? So, and it's not that I'm turning it on, but I genuinely want to meet people and work with people. But I also have a plan when I walk into a room. So I will go in a marketing event, and every time there's a break, I do not sit with the same people. Even if I really liked the people I sat with before, because that's your comfort zone. Now you know them. Push yourself to go meet new people. And so that is why when I go to marketing events, people will say oh yeah, Tracy, oh yeah, Tracy, oh yeah, Tracy, because Tracy was working the room, and not working the room for sales, but just working the room of who else can I meet? And the second part of that is, it's not, I don't come in what do you do? I genuinely like people. I like to know what lights them up. So I don't ask people what they do. I ask them what lights them up. Sometimes it's their kids. Sometimes it's skydiving. Sometimes it doesn't, the conversation just evolves in a much different way when you get to know people in not that marketing or business capacity.
Is that how you open up the conversation?
Yes.
Like legit, I sit down on at a table and say, tell me actually what
well,
lights
like,
you up?
you know, it's back and forth. I'll hear people. I'm like, what lights you up? What gets you up in the morning? Yeah.
Like
so
that.
you say it just like that. Yeah. And again, it changes the, like, I'm here to get work. You're here to get work. Let's like, and you can tell, like, the people you go to, and especially because I'm in online marketing, you know, I was approached by someone and I asked her what lit her up, and she gave me her elevator pitch. I had heard her giving the elevator pitch to the people behind me. It didn't falter in any way. She came to that event with her elevator pitch that she probably worked really hard on. There was zero personality to it. I knew what she did, but I certainly didn't like her. Like, there was nothing about it that I was like, oh yeah, I would like to learn more about it. It started and stopped with her, and I was like, okay, see you later. You can go to the next table and tell them your elevator pitch, because it's good to know and have, like, okay, if they start asking me about that, what should I say? But really just, like, get to know people on a human level.
And Ashley, I think that you're tremendous with this as well, right? You know, I've been to multiple different events with you, and you have no problem, or it appears you have no problem walking up to people, having conversations. But then where I love where you take the relationship at is, I know that you're a connector as well, but the lasting impact of, you know, sending a handwritten card or making a connection, you know, truly on social. Like, you take it even a step further than just the actual conversation, and making that it's authentic. Like, you want to continue that relationship. How do you keep up with all of that?
It's a good question. You know, it is funny. I think about, I feel that I'm a connector, right? And I think it is, it's a matter of wanting to solve people's problems. And sometimes I even say, like, it might be a little bit of my own problem, right? Of, like, I just feel like I always want to help other people. And people know, like, you'll call Ashley and there's a solution. Like, we had an issue in town this week with food trucks, and I got like 3 phone calls because Ashley's going to figure out the problem. And I appreciate that. Like, that is, and I appreciate your comments too. But it's a matter of, like, who you're drawn to. So it's that light. And there are plenty of people that you meet, and they'll be a great connector. You know that you could rely on them, but it's also, like, who do you want to have as a part of your life further on, because they do bring you energy, or you know that you can help them. You know, like, I think of Austin and Tara, for example. Met them by a pool one day, but they had this fantastic energy, and, you know, through conversations realized that we had the ability to help them. You know, and it's just this genuine, like, people, but they return the favor, right? So it's other people that will check in on you. And I think that's where I've always felt, is that if you find the people that care about you enough that they reciprocate and will send you those random messages, those are my people. The people that, you know, you might send cards to, or you might reach out to, and you never hear back from them. Yes, they're a great contact or resource, but they're not maybe going to continue on. But as far as, like, keeping up with it, I don't know. I guess it's just this intuition of, I probably, somewhat of it is Facebook, right? Because there's a reactor of seeing them. But I'll be honest, there's lots of notes in my calendar of people's birthdays, people's anniversaries, you know, all of those types of things. But it's just a matter of, you never know who you're going to meet. And I think that's what has really resonated with me, is, had I not gone into some of these rooms or met strangers, none of us would be here today. Like, the 3 of us wouldn't be on this phone call. Right. You know, like, if I wouldn't have randomly gone up to this guy named Steven that made a post on Facebook, you know, and in St. Louis, like, would have never met him, and it would have never led to all of these amazing things that have happened. Or, you know, you didn't go to a conference, or you didn't, you know, meet someone at a dinner that, you know, you now call when things are going bad. Like, it's just amazing if you can really think to yourself that the world is just, you know, ginormous, the amount of people that could impact your life if you're just willing to go and start a conversation with someone.
I think that's what you just said is so impactful, right? Like, don't limit yourself to your geographic area or your comfort zone.
Right.
I think that's big for me, as far as, like, I always say, like, putting myself in a box. And because I grew up in rural America, you know, like, that's all I knew. And then I continued to grow, and I continued to meet people like you ladies. And then it opens my eyes and opens my brain even further.
Right.
And then as it continues to go on, I find more relationships, and it goes out even further, and just expanding my brain and my mind, like, and even my heart, right? Like I look at things totally different just because of the way that you guys have impacted my life and others. And it's crazy to see how far that I have come. But I also think that it's true to understand, like, it's okay that I don't like to walk into rooms every single time and be center of attention. That's not me, right? I have to recognize that that's not what that's something that I don't like. But what I have done is, I realize that I am like 75% of me is truly an introvert, and 25% I'm truly an extrovert. So I have a ring light, and I'm sure it's not in the right area right now or whatever, but Tracy's critiquing on where my light placement's at. But what I have to do is, when I'm on calls, let it be something recorded like this that's going to be published and put out there, or if it's going to be with a client, I turn my light on. So I know that I actually have to show up. And then when I'm done and I have a break, I turn my light off, and then I have that relax. But before, I used to always feel like I had to show up and be on display and always have the light on. That's true. That's where I got burnt out.
It's exhausting. It's exhausting though too. Also, just showing up authentically. You can stand out in a giant room of people and not be the loudest one. And in fact, I think most of us will shy away from that loudest one. You can tell the person who's looking for attention, and most of us are like, right, you don't really want to be around that because it's too much. But working the room, or just kind of getting to know people in small pods or like individually, for me is much more satisfying than walking in and being like, bitches, I'm here. But that's not my style. I mean, I might to you and Ashley, but not in general, right? That's not my style at all.
So what would you say, like, is there any sort of recommendation that you would have for somebody that, like myself, how do I get out there more? How do I make those impactful conversations? And then actually follow up is, how do you continue those relationships?
Yeah. So for me, like, you have to, like, you're not going to grow or meet people if you just stay inside. Right. Like, so it's just kind of like, it's the same with my video advice, which is like, you're not going to attract new clients if they have no idea you exist. Right. And so you have to put yourself in those situations when you're in those situations. So what is it like? So my favorite quote by Eleanor Roosevelt, and I'm looking over to make sure I get it right, which is, do one thing that scares you every day. And I signed up for a tennis league, and I don't really play tennis. So like, I had taken some tennis lessons last year, and I said to the woman, I want to be your best 50-year-old like student. And she's like, you are, because you're my only 15-year-old student. last year she said to me, I really think you should join my league. I think you should join the league. And I immediately was like, hell no. Like, I just learned how to, like, we haven't even played. I'm just learning skills. This year, she reached back out to me, and I haven't touched a racket since our lesson, 10 months ago. I really think you should join the tennis league. And I said, you know what? That scares the shit out of me. I'm going to do it. And so on Tuesday, I showed up, and I was definitely the worst person there, but every single person was very nice, so doing the things that put you in that discomfort just momentarily. Like, so what is it? What event is happening that you're like, oh, I really want to go to that event, meet a couple people. And then I'm going to let Ashley take it for follow-up, because I think she is really like the follow-up queen.
I appreciate what you're talking about like just going to an event, because sometimes I almost talk myself out of it, because there is this thing of like being on all day, and it is exhausting. So when there's an opportunity to go to an event like a Business After 5, after work, I'll be like, I could just go home and not have to see anyone or talk to anyone. But I'll always just be like, just go for like 5 minutes. You have to make the appearance. Yeah. And then I'm there for 2.5 hours, and normally like maybe somebody asks me about real estate or about construction or whatnot. And, I'm always like, well, that paid for itself. So it is important to just, and I know a lot of people struggle, because they want to like meet someone there. And that is always a hard thing for me to like walk into somewhere by myself. I like to walk in with someone. So I just encourage anyone, like if you're unsure of like it, again, it goes back to your like Nike, like just do it, just go, and you will find someone will gravitate towards you. I promise you that. But As far as follow up, actually part of it comes back to the ninja selling, which is really big on the thank you notes. And it's not necessarily just thank you notes, it's just anything. So simple too is like I started off with 2 cards a week. And it can be for anything. So I wrote one yesterday because a client of mine got a promotion. I wrote another one last week because they had a baby, right? But it's being in tune. So you're following them on Facebook. So again, if you meet someone, connect with them on whatever social platform, because they don't have to be local either for you to send them notes, right? I got a note this week from a client of mine, and I sent Stephen a message, and I was like, this made my day. And that's how I want people to feel.
Think about
right?
that. It made your day to get a simple note, right? Or like at this point, it's even like Ashley and I, like, I'll just get a random text from either of them. And it just makes me feel so loved because I was like, oh yeah, hi, hey, thanks, I miss your face, right? Like that's, it just makes you feel good.
So I think it's the notes, but it's what I was just going to say, it's the randomness, right? So I have learned over the years that it really is just that when you're thinking about someone, like just send them a message. And I think that there is a Facebook post or something that talks about like, don't forget about your strong friends, because I think that when you are like successful and strong, like everyone thinks that you're happy, everything is great all the time, so no one really checks on you, or they think that you're busy all the time, so no one checks in. And I feel that often. Both of you check in, so that's great, but I feel like there's too much of that in the world where we all get a little lost, and we let too much time go by, and then people are like, did something happen? Did something not happen? Like, was there confusion? So I guess my practice is just really that when someone crosses my mind, I just send them a message. Or I think I mentioned this on a podcast too, like somebody's Facebook post seemed off to me. And so I just sent them a message and was like, hey, just want to let you know I was thinking of you. And like, sure enough, like something was definitely off, and like no one had reached out to them to say something. So I say handwritten notes, but it's really just your people. Like you have to find your people. You have to find the ones that are doing it. But I'll be honest, like some of them are in my CRM because life is crazy. So
I put birthdays, and so like, well, I think you both have experienced this. I will sing happy birthday to people just randomly. It's not good, but it's like
video on our birthdays.
Right. So like birthday, I sing happy birthday, and it's like I sent one to someone I met at a marketing event like 10 years ago, and she hired me for something, but like we hadn't really been in touch, and I like Facebook was like, oh, it's Stacy's birthday, and I forget why I put on a cowgirl hat, but I did. And then she said, I have always wanted to have, my like a happy birthday song in a cowgirl hat. But it was such a funny reconnecting moment that she's like, that literally made my day. And so like,
even like if you see something on Facebook, maybe just send them a personal message, because so many people are just saying like, congratulations, happy birthday, etc. on Facebook with a slew of 100 other people's. But how many people actually took the time to send them, a message? And they like, maybe they lost your number over time, whatever that might be, but it's now you're in their personal, phone book again. And I think that it's just a matter of, it's like intuition again, like you just have to be watching people. And I think that we're all kind of good at that, like Stephen, I'll never forget, like we're in a meeting and you're like, nope, something's wrong with Ashley. Like what are we doing here? And then Tracy, you were in the room. And I think that it's a matter of, you have to just be able to know your surroundings, and pick up on those people. But the follow-up is really, it's simple. I mean, put them in your phone, send messages when you can, acknowledge their, accomplishments, their birthdays, send them random things. If you see something somewhere that made you think of somebody, like take a picture, send it to them, whatever that might be. It's just in this world that we're in where like technology is almost like taken over, like use it to your advantage, use it to make their day. I mean, I've been hampering on this, notes, and I told another client about it in a completely different field. And she started using them, and like, sure enough, I got one the other day. And same thing, like, it's just a minute to stop and be like, oh, like, look they thought of me. And I think it's just, we need more positivity in the world. So if we can all do little things here and there to help everyone, like, great.
In a world where we're very disconnected in many ways, these little things connect us, right? And they just make you feel special. And if you can even just feel special for that couple of minutes when you're like getting a letter, snail mail, and you're like, oh my gosh, it feels really good.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you both, ladies. I think the moral of the story here, it's all about relationships.
Yes.
and continuing those relationships.
Sure.
And, on the sales aspect of things, not that a relationship always has to turn into sales, because I think that there's more meaningful relationships, outside of the money aspect of things. But for me, when I teach on the sales side of things, relationships equal revenue.
Yes.
And let that revenue for you truly be the money aspect of it, or let that revenue truly be the fulfillment of the connection. Either way, it does not matter, but relationships equal revenue. So thank you guys for tuning in today, and looking forward to next time. Please like and share, and toodaloo. Have a great day.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and share with others. Stay connected for more genuine insights and strategies to boost your real estate career on Facebook, or check out our website. We'll see you next time.